Welcome to 2024. I wrote an article in college, Welcome to 1990, and that was because in 10 years from that article, it would be the year 2000. And if you an old guy like me, you would have seen old television shows describing a future of flying cars, people with jetpacks flying over the city or their metropolis, all these futuristic type of inventions and modes of transportation to get around. Like the Jetsons, right? Well, all I can just tell you is that in 1990, when I also wrote the article, that was what we had dreamed for. We dreamed about a future like that. But instead, in 1990, we had decaying cities. We had, everything was just not as we thought it was going to be. Scores of homeless people, cities were decaying, things were not looking as good as, I don't know, they look now. And all I can tell you is that the year 1990 was a very bleak place for some, and for others, it was nirvana, right? But that was the future that we got. So I would just say some 34 years later, here we are again. We're living in a future we think the best is ahead of us. Not flying cars this time, but cars that are dependent on solar energy. We're dependent on, or we have mass transportation. We have plans for that to take us all around the city and across the state in no time flat. And instead, we have a future, or right now, the future we live in, which we call our present, in which some people are doing well and masses, scores of people are not doing the same. This is the future that we got, and has been that way for 34 years, since then, from then to now. When we often think about the future, we think about the greatest things that could ever happen, right? Like, let's go to flying cars, when the 1990 article that I wrote. Now, we did say flying cars would be the future. You can just take off from your place in the city and then just go somewhere else. You don't need roads. You don't need. All you needed was that flying device to take you from one place to the other, and yet that never happened. We can say that politics got in the way because it costs a lot to build a flying contraption. But even that wasn't in anyone's mind in 1990. We thought by the year 2000 that was going to be the case. If you're thinking back then, like in the 1950s and 60s, you thought, hey, that could be the future. When it comes to year 2000, guess what? Flying cars, flying shuttles, you name it, it's there. But it hasn't turned out to be that way. Again, because politics, because people were not quite ready for that kind of future, because they didn't see that kind of future. What they saw was the present day in time. They saw that the cities had a lot of homeless people. So many cities and towns, their companies or businesses were leaving their small towns and going somewhere else. And they just didn't see a bright future depending on where you live. Young men like me were vanishing and going to the gravesite on a constant basis due to violence in our inner cities. I did mention that in the article. And it just seems as if, things have changed, but not by much. And that's why it takes us to 2024, because now we just finished an election where people are unsure of how life from this point forward is going to go. For some of you, and I know some of you have been reading in your comment section which side that you're on, this may be a golden age or nirvana for you. You may finally get what you want. You may finally get those undesirables, quote undesirables, out of your hair and out of your country. And then you may feel like, hey, guess what? We're running things now. Get out of the way, Jack. It's our turn now. Or Okay, you may feel that way. And then there are some of you also who believe like, wow, we're in for some dark days. What did we just do? What happened? I thought blank was on our side, and then blank turned us down because really the support was blank, right? So whatever happens, you have to know that the future that we always dreamed about, the future that was always envisioned, the better day, is something that we always dream about, but at the same time never quite comes. We have to deal with the reality, the here and now, and you name it. We always dreamed about um, people getting along one another, despite your nationality, despite your skin color, and yet we find in the year 2024 that ain't so. That's never going to be so. But I'll just say that that's the reality that we face, and it's nice to dream about the things that we feel could happen, but at the same time we know it's not going to happen, right? Many of you depend on public transportation, and that's very important to get to your job, to see your relatives, whatever we use it for. And I can just say that the future of public transportation isn't like a dream of flying cars or having rail systems across your city to take you from one place to the other, as in the case here in LA. There's still quite, uh, let's say, issues going on with even high speed rail from LA to San Francisco or LA to Las Vegas, even though that has been fast tracked and that is going to be in the future. You can go to LA to Vegas by rail. Just look it up. Google it if you like to. Well, I can just say that again, whenever we dream of big things, whenever we have these ideas that, hey, our world, our society, our nation could be much better once we have this technology or this invention. And it could be a big thing, it could be a great thing. But the thing we always have to remember is that we are living in reality. And in reality, those dreams often die. Why? Because people don't see those dreams the same way that you or even I may see them. So we have to deal with the reality of what it is right now. High speed rail should always be a thing. It saves time, it saves money, and really the technology's gotten better. But I do know the reality that there are some towns and some cities who may not like it because it may bypass the same small towns, small businesses that depend on you visiting them as you travel on the road, or you may have to travel on the rail system that stops by that small town or wherever it may make stops at. So all I can just tell you again, and the article that I wrote in 1990 when I was in college, I just felt like, okay, what could happen, right? This is the vision of the year 2000, the vision of the future, and when that didn't happen, I said, okay, this is what we're dealing with now. Now we're in 2024, and again, we're dealing with a future that I'm sure most of you never thought would happen, and for some of you, you thought this day would never come, but now you're glad it's here. So no matter what side of the fence that you're on, as far as the dreams of a better future, of a better world, and dealing with the reality of what it is right now, this is where we are, and this is what we have to do. And the one thing I can say is that if you want this present to change, you know what you have to do. But if you feel like you don't know what to do, you just know what you have to do in a peaceful manner. Let's just say that. In a peaceful, constructive manner that will help bring others together to bring about that bright future that you always envision. But again, that'll be your choice. That'll be up to you. And all I can just say is that if that's what you want, go get it peacefully. And for others, just enjoy your days, enjoy your time, because this is probably the best that just ever has been for you. And again, those dreams may have been those dreams of flying cars and whatnot, but you're in reality, and you love this reality so much that you don't want it to change. Forget all that technology, right? Say, all I can just tell you is that that's what you believe in. That's what you believe in. Okay, it's been a long day, so I'm struggling right now, But I just want to thank you for that. And again, if you want to see the Welcome to 1990 article, it is on my website under media. And you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom to click on the PDF file, and you'll be able to see this the article for yourself. And I might just write it up in the blog, update of that based on this video. So just check it out when you can. But thank you so much for listening to my rambling for all this time. I really appreciate your comments. I really appreciate your support. If you like what you've seen, please click the like button, or even click the subscribe button and like to hit more of this content. But I do want to thank each and every one of you for watching and taking the time to hear what I have to say. Again, have a good day, a good evening, a good week, and always in closing, take care.